Good morning. This is Theresa Brooks with the Zula B. Wiley Public Library, bringing you another creative moment. I'm trying a new setup so that hopefully you can watch me as I do this and it's not upside down. I don't think in some things that I do that it matters, but I think it's going to make a difference for this video. So it's a little askew, and I apologize, but I need a new tripod. Ooh, you can see my foot down there at the bottom. So let me pull up. Now that I know that we have a pretty good view of what's going on. So I don't like to say that I have a commission, but I have a commitment to try to create some art. So this is me working out some color palette, working out getting loose and getting more comfortable with some of the design elements and some of the technical aspects of painting with acrylic. If you've noticed, most of my stuff is not very realistic. So this is a field of grass. You can see up here we have some clouds, kind of looks like mountains. That's some of the technical stuff. I tried to work wet on wet and that didn't work for me very well. But then we have a lot of different grasses down here. So if you will, just bear with me and come with me on this creative moment where I try to show you how you can do some of these things. I am working on, I'm going to move this over. It's going to be my focal point. You won't be able to see it. I am working on a artist board. I think it's 9.5 by 11. It's not in the best shape, but that doesn't matter because it's all going to get covered up with paint. So let me make sure I have that. I was supposed to draw some marks so that I could remember how to keep stuff in focus. And so my palette that for only these elements that I'm going to be working on has some titanium white. I have 2 blobs there just so that if I get one muddy I can use another one. I've got a medium yellow, I've got a yellow ochre, I've got a burnt sienna, I've got a phthalo green, purple diazza something. I can't, it's purple. I have a cerulean blue, which I'm going to use for my sky. Now, you don't have to use these exact colors whenever you paint. You need to find out what colors speak to you, whether you're going to use them straight out of the bottle or straight out of the tube to paint your color palette, your techniques, your abilities. So I wanted to show you my palette. It won't be in view all the time. Right now I've got a number 8 bright brush, which just means that it's just a nice little paintbrush. It'll hold some paint. You can't see my water. You may hear me dipping it into the water. So I'm going to dip it in the water. And then I'm going to pull some white over. Since I don't want to get blue in the white, I'm going to pull some white over. And then I'm going to pull on this edge of this blue over, and I'm going to mix up the blue that I want for my sky. Now, if I wanted to be more impressionistic, you know, I could, you know, use a much darker sky. This is where I waste a lot of paint, y'all. I'll just be honest. I am not the most economical of painters. So, I kind of like that. Maybe I want it to be a touch lighter. So, And we can even kind of mix that on the board. So now, I'm going to do probably the top. A little bit, this much is going to be my sky. So I'm just going to like put that down. Don't have to draw that in. It can be loose. Just put my sky in. Nice, pretty blue sky. I kind of want a spring or summer sky because my goal is to put some wildflowers in with the grasses that we'll be painting. So I don't think we can get all of that in today. So we're just doing pieces of it. So, and since it's sky, I kind of want to have like a, you know, horizontal kind of motion going on. Doesn't have to be perfect. So there I got some nice blue sky. I'm gonna wash that out, and I probably should move my water over to the other side. You won't be able to see it, but it's closer to me. I actually like the blue that's in my water, but that's fine. Okay, so now I am going to want to create, if you look at this, you'll see I've kind of got blue sky, and then I've kind of got like this hazy background that's kind of yellow, kind of white. It's a light color. Yellow and blue make green, so I'm gonna see what happens when I take some of the yellow oxide and pull that over to the white. Kind of get a little, I don't need as much paint for these little pieces as I do for the bigger pieces. So maybe pull in a little of that blue, make it a little. Okay, and then I'm just gonna put this down along that color. And evidently today I am much more saturated than I was the other day when I was painting. It seemed like the other day I could not keep my paint wet, couldn't keep anything going. So just gonna, didn't have to be a straight line. It's kind of like a rolling meadow. Didn't have to be straight. So there. And actually, I kind of want this to blend a little more, so it's easier for me. I am more of a finger artist, so I'm just gonna blend that in with my finger a little bit. Okay, so now I have my horizon line, my sky, and then I start my horizon. Okay, now here's where fun starts. Look. I am now going to get some of the phthalo green, this green right here. I'm going to pull that over because I kind of want a dark green. I'm actually going to pull a little of that blue over. I'm going to mix it. Since I'm trying to show you my palette, normally I would just have a big palette out on the table and I wouldn't have to work in such a confined space, but because I want you to be able to see some of the mixing that I'm doing, I'm trying to work like this. So now we're just going to start painting the bottom. And it's just rough, it's just background. It's actually going to be covered up. We'll kind of come up here and join in with that. Let's pick up some more of this. This is background work. This is just slapping it on there. This is not, we don't have to worry about, you know, how that joins. We're just trying to get some of this color down. And it doesn't have to be exactly the same color all the way across, because, you know, when you look at grasses, they're a little bit different colored. Okay. And I'm working with acrylic. Acrylic dries, especially, you know, I've got my air conditioner going, I got a fan going. I'm hoping that the blue sky will dry so that I can work up there while I'm letting some of this green dry. And it can kind of go up there like this. And if you attempt this, just don't worry about it at this stage, because it will come together. I think my blue is still a little wet. Hopefully it'll dry as we're working. I wish I had brought my water over. For some reason, I am thirsty. So, let's see. I don't know if anybody's is able to see this. Okay, it is, as far as I can tell, still recording. We'll keep going. We'll post it. If you've lost it, we'll post it. Let's see how dry that is. That's probably dry enough. Okay, I am going to change the brushes now. I'm going to go to a angle brush. It's got this on it, and I am going to start pulling out some white just on the edge of my brush, and I'm going to start attempting to make clouds. I am not the best cloud maker, that's why I'm practicing. So you just kind of push it in there like that, because, you know, the top of the cloud is kind of got, you know, a little bit more white, and then you pull it down and let it fade away. And my blue is still a little, so you just get some white on the tip, and you push, kind of push it up, and pull it away. And you know that I nearly always get performance anxiety when I try to paint in front of y'all. So I need to loosen up a little bit. These are kind of jaggedy. I probably have too much paint on my brush. That's part of my problem. And I never like them when they're wet, but after they dry, I seem to go, oh, that's not so bad. So don't be too critical of your clouds. You know, just play with them. Yeah, see, that one's like really white. It's gonna look more like a mountain. So I'm gonna try to see if I can pull some of that out. And try to move some of it over here. I don't know, you may be seeing my head, since I have a tendency to kind of lean in. then I'll get all caught up in trying to paint, and I'll stop talking to you guys, and it'll be like, where'd she go? She's still there painting. I can see her hand moving, but I have no idea what she's doing next. Okay. Yeah, these are not very good clouds. Okay. Quit trying to be such an expert for you guys. I need to relax into it and enjoy it. Okay. Those are not very good. Okay, I am not doing very good this morning. Okay, we're gonna leave the clouds alone. We'll see what happens. I may come back once my blue has dried more. But you get the idea, kind of how you build it up so that there's like lighter and darker. Okay. So on to the fun stuff. Okay. This part. This is where you take your palette, you take this angle brush, and you start creating different greens. So, for instance, I already have this kind of mixed up here. I may pull this down and make a green that's got a little more yellow in it. Be a little lighter. My problem on my practice board was that I had way too much white. So just load that up. And you start creating brass, and you just kind of go like that. Kind of want it to go. You don't want to be. I'm like being way too artistic, way too wavy. Just, you know, start letting it go up like into your horizon. Some of them, you know, come off the bottom, go halfway up. Kind of looks kind of silly. You just keep going at it, making different greens, different colors. Might bring in a little purple, create a darker, like for more of a shade, grass. And you just because you have that angle. You can get that little tail. You start off a little fat and then you can trail off. Yeah, once again, holding a paper plate, trying to mix paint is not the easiest thing. Okay. Those are very purple. That, don't, try not to be too critical of yourself at this point. I am not an expert. I'm just someone who loves doing this kind of stuff. So there are people, you know, who can, if you really, really want to get good at this, you know, there are places you can take classes. You can, you know, but you can see that you can enjoy it no matter what your skill set. I don't know why I keep picking up so much purple when what I want is green. Let's put a little bit of that in there. Ooh, that's pretty. That is a pretty green. Let's scrape some of that off. Ooh, yeah. I like that green. I like that green a lot. Let's come up over our horizon because we need to cover all of this up. We got lots of grass to paint. And it needs to come up into our sky, it needs to trail off. Not everything starts from the bottom. Okay, I have deja vu more often when I'm painting than any other time, and I've had this conversation with other artists that it just seems like you get into the flow and you can start just doing it and you stop thinking about it. I don't really have the good fortune to be able to do that when I'm trying to show people a little bit. So we're gonna make some that are just a little bit lighter now. So you just keep mixing your yellows, your greens, your blues. That's an even brighter yellow. Let's bring that in here, see what happens. And just creating those different kinds of greens that you can see out in the world. Oh, now that, see, it just adds another dimension to it. Not everything, some of them are poking out behind the others. You know, not everything is coming off the ground from the bottom because, you know, everything is like growing. And I've got a lot of covering up to do of this part right here. So you just keep doing this, you just keep mixing. And you just keep going. If your paint starts to feel a little dry on your palette, you might need to give it a spritz. It is acrylic, That might help it to move more because I feel a little bit more of a drag on my brush. Let me see, because I'm not getting all the, yeah, that helps a lot. Okay. The more grass, the better. Some of them do need to come down and come up off of your board. My tripod is sitting right there, so I'm kind of missing this little corner. Not getting as much of it as I would like. I'm not getting my horizon covered up. So I'm going to be working, oh, that was very thick. I'm trying to, holding my brush upside down, no wonder. And so some of the darker ones are those shades, you know, where it's shady, so you need to keep those in there. You don't want to cover them all up. I should have smudged my line between my grass and my horizon a little more. But there's a lot more that's going to happen to this one, and the other one, my the focal point that I shared with you. Yeah, let's see, I don't know how we are on time. Yeah, it's time to go. So there's this one. Actually, like this one better, partly is because it's dry, partly because I didn't rush. But this one, I kind of, even though I don't like my clouds, I kind of like my clouds now that they're starting to dry. These two humps are a little too similar. I can still continue to work on those. I can continue to kind of create more grass so that that yellow is not quite so yellow. But we'll come back next week because we'll be putting some lovely wildflowers on our grasses. So I had fun painting with you this morning. I hope you enjoyed this creative moment. More to come. Y'all have a good week. Stay cool. Love you. Bye.